What's up, everyone? This is Christian Duke, and you're watching Strength Addicts here on Instagram live coverage brought to you courtesy of BlackstoneLabs.com, the holy grail of hardcore bodybuilding supplements. Whether you're looking to get jacked, lose weight, gain muscle, go to BlackstoneLabs.com and also check out the Blackstone Labs Legion. Also, big thank you to our supporting sponsor, TitanMedicalCenter.com, for all your great therapies like TRT, Nectar of the Gods, Titan Complete, and of course the new ECA Plus stack that's got the whole fitness industry talking. So today I'm super fortunate to have with me Tonio the Mutant Burton. He is a 212 competitor. He won the Indy Pro. And I got to tell you guys, before the Indy Pro, a lot of people didn't even know that Tonio was in the 212. So you can only imagine when he did this show, an amazing Dave Bowers production. It was people were like, oh my gosh, who is this guy? And he lived up to every bit of the hype by getting top 10 at the 2021 212 Olympia Showdown. And so I know we're a little bit late on the interview. Most of you guys are going to see it on replay, but we're going to have a lot of fun with it because I've been wanting to do this for quite some time. What's up, Tonio? How's it going?
I'm good. Yourself?
Very good. I mean, you've been very busy today, right? You've been on planes and cars and all sorts of stuff, right?
Oh man, traveling's been crazy today. All the delays, getting back to Reno. It kept moving around. Like went from landing at 3:15 to 4:30 to 5:30 to 6:15 back to 5. Yeah.
Wow, that's just tired. I'm just tired listening to that. And then you're guest posing this weekend too, right?
Yes. In Springfield, Missouri, at Pink Muscle with Big Romney.
With Big Ramy, that's right. With two-time Mr. Olympia, that's so cool, man. I gotta say though, like before you did the Indy Pro earlier this year, I follow you with the 212 bodybuilding page, but I wasn't sure if you were actually 212 because you look pretty huge in your pictures and videos. So, talk to us about like when you turned pro and how long you've been competing for.
So I started competing in 2018. I was in a light heavy class. I did 3 shows before doing my first national show. No, I didn't. I did 1 show, and then I did a pro amateur show in Vancouver.
Wow.
And then I placed 3rd there. And when I came back to Reno, Chris Menez was like, "Dude, you got to expand. You know, you're 3rd place at your first national, pro qualifier. It's time to go somewhere else." So I grew, put on some more size. Did a show in Vegas, then I did USA's, and turned pro there in 2019. The plan from there was to go to Tampa for my pro debut, but I didn't want to rush anything. Just want to, focus on building size to grow into the 212. Well, I was taking our break. We were supposed to do New York the following year, but it kept being postponed because of COVID. So I was just like, you know what, just take the year to grow. And taking that whole year to grow, we put on a little bit too much size. So, because every Indy was, hard to get down to 212. We were in a sauna for 3 days, about an hour and a half, 2 hours each day, to try to get weight to go down. And I even fasted from 6 p.m. to 6 p.m. to check-ins. So, and I was in the sauna that morning of check-ins as well. So,
Jeez.
Indy was hard. And
That's
same
crazy.
thing
That's insane to fast. I mean, that's crazy. And then, because your body's like, you're a professional bodybuilder, elite level bodybuilder. I would imagine after maybe 2.5 hours, your body's like starving for protein, and then to not have anything.
Oh yeah, you feel it too. It's a crazy feeling. Like you start becoming loopy and just like tired and not thinking straight. So just lay down, go to sleep, because you can't drink any water, can't eat anything. Right. So just try to sleep. Same thing happened with Olympia. We had to get in a sauna. I actually ended up missing my weigh-ins. I weighed 214, and I stripped all the way down, and I weighed 212.5. So I had to run to the sauna, and I came back, weighed in, and it was 212 on the dot.
Yeah, I remember. I think this was like 5 or 6 years ago at the Arnold Classic. My good buddy, I love him, Charles the Tank Dixon, who, he's 212 for a split second. I mean, this guy's a monster. And he had to, I think he had to do like I think like enemas. He had to do like, he had to get like in a bag and get in a pool. He had to do just everything because
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing. People, you know, that outside of the industry don't realize is that with you guys, especially with 212, if you don't make that weight, you can't compete. So your whole
Right.
prep is out the door. It's out the window. Everything, your sponsors, your fans, your coaches, everyone's time is done. You know, so that, you know, that number, and you know, Charles was 212 like you for one split second, but that's all that counts. You know, because most of the guys on stage are not 212. Some guys are well over 220 pounds, but they have to be
Right.
212 at weigh-ins.
Correct. That's what, getting down, trying to get down to 212, because like he looked at me and he was like, "Oh, dude, like you have nothing else to strip off. Go use the bathroom." So I tried to tell him
Yeah,
to use the
no, for
bathroom.
sure.
Nothing was helping, and then we made weight, and by the time of making weight and trying to go to prejudging, it was all right. We had to meet the Olympians as well, so trying to put food back in and fill back out, it just wasn't coming in time. And finals came around, and my coach was like, "Dude, what do you want to eat?" And I was like, "French toast. That's my favorite." So he lets me eat the French toast, and boom, I just started. My weight just jumps, and we weighed myself, and I was probably about 217, 218. And I remember after finals, I seen one of the judges in the bathroom, and he came up to me and was like, "If you would have came to prejudging the way you did for finals, it would have been different for you." And it was a hard pill to swallow, because it's like, you know, those factors that play into, what the coach has to deal with, of the timing and the science part of it, I guess. So all that pressure. So, but I mean, top 10 isn't bad. So still happy with
Top
what
10
happened.
is great. Top 10 is great. And earlier you had mentioned Chris Minnis, who's like just one of the most amazing promoters. He promotes with Dexter Jackson and just a really big name. And for him to also take notice of you is huge. But I mean, like what you did in Indy, I mean, before we talk about Indy though, tell us about your coach, because you and your coach, you know, there's competitors that have like a loose relationship with their coach, but you and your coach seem to be on the same page on everything. And like you tag each other, you promote each other. So how long have you guys worked together? And well, who is he, and how long have you worked together, and all of that?
So my coach's name is Mike Courtney, Team Courtney Coaching on Instagram. He so I want to say back in 2015, maybe 2016, when I was still lifting towards football, him and his wife had seen me, and they were like, "Dude, you need to compete." I was like, "No, I just like lifting. I want to get big. That's all." And they were like, "Dude, you're letting your talent go to waste. We're trying to tell you, you have the physique for it. Do it." Nah, I'm good. I brushed it off, ignored it, whatever. And then I had just finished Simpson Showdown, and I was getting ready for USA's. And he comes up to me again. He catch me walk. I'm walking out the gym, and he's walking in. And he goes, "You look good at Simpson, but let me get you good for nationals." He was like, "I don't want anything. Just let me help you." So I was like, "All right, let's do it." So he started coaching me for USA's, and just seeing each day, each week, my physique changing and getting better. What I wanted it to do, but I'm just thinking I just have to lift and eat, like then I'm gonna grow. But he had more behind, more knowledge to it. So he actually helped me do what I wanted to do as I was getting ready for the show. So I ended up growing into USA's. I was 187 uh, at Simpson Showdown, and for USA's I weighed exactly 198. My cutoff for light heavy, and that's from March to July. So perfect job growing into the show. And outside of competing, we talk every day. He's always checking up on me, just to check and see how I am, how my mental health is, what's new, what's going on, wanting to hang out, driving down to live together, like eat even. He'll call me, have me go to his house. We'll pose a little bit, work out, and then just go have fun, even if it's not in
That's awesome.
season. So,
Yeah,
and
that's the
even
vibe
when,
I get. Like you guys are friends too, which is awesome. That's really cool.
oh yeah, yeah, when everything was going on too, with like the whole Black Lives Matter movement, um, he had his point of view, I had my point of view, but we were still able to still be the brothers that we are, and that was I think that's the biggest thing about our team, and the vibe that we have is not just a bodybuilding team, it's a family. And if I'm slacking
Definitely, definitely.
somewhere, he's not scared to tell you either. So like I wake up, I do my posing, and I'll send it to him. I think I look great. Like, yeah, this is perfect. He's gonna like this. And he's like, so what'd you do? Your glutes aren't there anymore. You're missing these cuts now. Now we gotta do something else. And he knows I eat fish, and
Yeah.
he's like, your whole diet is fish today. So he's not scared to tell me where I'm slacking. So.
No, for sure. And you seem to have some good sponsors too, and you rep your sponsors real well. And how many sponsors do you have? It looks like you have like 3 or 4 sponsors. I see with Titan Nutrition quite a bit too. That's your main sponsor, right?
So yeah, Titan Nutrition was my first sponsor, and then Celsius came along, and there was LGS as well. And where I'm from, and me growing up, I come from nothing. People helping like they do. It's never. I've never had that before. So getting it, I'm gonna give back where I can, and I'm not just gonna post about or tag them when I'm wearing their clothing or have their drinks in my hand. I'm gonna tag them in each post because I'm thankful for it. I'm gonna represent them the way they represent me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I think it's great too that you came from humble origins and you've made it. I mean, you really have made it because, Tonio, the 212, and I know you know this better than anyone, but the 212 is ultra competitive. The 212, there's no GH guts. Nobody comes off. Nobody half-ass poses on stage. I mean, it's a very, very competitive division. Everybody's in shape. Everybody gets along, which is great. Like you look at like men's physique or sometimes open bodybuilding, and there's like these like petty little quabbles or squabbles or whatever. Not in 212. So it's a very old school, very like united type division, but also extremely competitive. And you won a pro show and you placed top 10 at the Olympia. I mean, you've definitely made it.
Yeah, 212. I love 212. Like just like you say, you notice drama in bodybuilding in every other category besides 212. And usually when it's people in 212 going back and forth, it's them talking about pushing each other. Right. Or, like, okay, you got me this time, I'm gonna get you this time, Like
Definitely.
So in 2019 I turned pro with Nathan Epler. And ever since then we had this thing going. Like he'll post something, I'll say something to him, or I'll post something, he'll say something to me. Nothing bad to where it's like, oh, this dude is rude, but it's like, okay, now I got to go back to the gym. Thank you for doing that.
For sure.
But that's just something me and him built going.
No, yeah, for sure. But Indy, because before Indy, I would repost on the 212 page and a little bit on Strength Addicts, and I want to post a lot more, but I would get DMs from people and say they would say he's not a 212 competitor, he's too big. I was like, yeah, but he's tagging the page, so he must want to be 212. And then I think, everybody knew you were a pro and everybody knew you were a good pro. They just didn't know like where you fit in. And you even said yourself, you were like a little bit outside of 212 weight wise. But when you did that show in Indy, I mean, and that was a tough show because you had, Nathan Epler fought hard there. John Jewett fought hard there. Brian Balzano, who was gone, he was like completely MIA. That was his comeback show, and he looked phenomenal. And you won that show, and so I think that's the show that just puts you on the map. That Dave Bauer show. Like really, like what was that like?
It didn't hit me really until I think after the show, and I was talking to Kai Green, but when I got back into my hometown and people were talking to me, they were like, oh, yeah, it was Indy, just a I think they said a tier 1 show or something like that. And then talking to, Kai, and he was like, what you just did, only a few in bodybuilding have done this. Usually you have to go, years and years of the same show before they even take notice to you. And, talking to my coach and everything, he was like, dude, you just beat, John Jewett. And I was like, I'm new to bodybuilding still. So I'm like, yeah, I think John Jewett was there. He was like, no, you don't understand. John Jewett was, top 10 in the Olympia. He's been to the Olympia, and I was kind of, oh, shit.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can cuss, but
and John is, I'm sorry, but John is ultra conditioned at every single show. And he's an amazing poser. I mean, he's an amazing poser. So, and the thing is that you beat all those guys. And all those guys recognized that you looked fantastic. That's what I love about the 212. Everybody was happy for you. And then you turned around and you were happy for those guys when they did well in New York and other shows. So that was awesome. But that was a great show for you. Like, what did you think about the show? Like, how did Dave Bowers do?
Oh, I loved it. I think he ran it perfectly. It wasn't there was no slow moment. It was just like he got us in. It wasn't crowded to get us in or get us out. It flowed perfect.
That's awesome.
um, yeah,
That's
it
awesome.
wasn't like some shows you do. You just kind of like, dang, when is this show done? Or dang, now we gotta wait on them. Or it was just he knew what he was doing.
Definitely no,
But
and I give him major credit too. Yeah, because it was still that was like one of the first shows of the year, and you know people with COVID they were still scared. Like, is this show going to get postponed? Is this show going to get canceled? And it didn't. But it was a little risky, but he did it. And being a competitor himself, you know, like usually the promoters that were once competitors or are competitors, they usually like really knock it out of the park. So that's good. That's really good.
yeah, he definitely
And
did good
and
with
so
that
then,
one.
what was the Olymp? Yeah, no, for sure. What was the Olympia like though? My flight got canceled on Friday. I had a ticket with Southwest. They canceled like 1,000 flights. It was terrible. But the Olympia was like that. I mean, that was only your second time up there, right?
So that was my first time ever going to Olympia,
Oh, it
and
was your first. I thought it
I
was your
seen it.
second. So that's even. So you got top 10 your first time. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's my first go around. Um, so I went to go watch it 2019 when it was in Vegas, or yeah, I believe it was 2019.
Hmm. It
But
was, yeah.
20
Yep.
and then 2020 did it in Florida, first time in Florida, and I remember running into Lance, and he actually when he see me up there, and I told him I was like, and they made a mistake, letting me see this, and he goes, well, I was like, I'll be here next year, and just like walking into it and seeing all the lights off, and then it just flashing, and then playing the Mr. Olympia song, and you see this stage that you're about to be on in front of all these people. It's like you walked into another planet. They talk about
Yeah.
how they see these nice bodybuilders. The top bodybuilders are like, oh, he's from another planet. He's not from here. Nick Walker, Ronnie Coleman. And, I even heard it a few times about myself. I won't brag, but when they say that, like that's the feeling you get when you walk in there. It's just a whole another atmosphere. And, walking backstage in the pump up room is like another gym. Get a full workout back there. So that was
Yeah.
crazy. And then, like I said, being on stage and just looking out and seeing everything, it's a mind blowing event. Like I wish everyone had the chance to be able to be on stage and see it from the eyes of us, how we see it.
Yeah, I've seen it from the media side, you know, and it's insane. And I've got to say, like, I thought this was your second time there, but this is the first time. So, my gosh, like, Tonio, I mean, this being the first time you're there, you didn't get there through points, and there's nothing wrong. I don't have anything wrong. There's nothing wrong with getting there through points, because if you get there through points, you're winning a show and you win the title, you're the champ. But you won a show, so I do think that you kind of went there with a little bit more style than going through points. You won a big show against some pretty good competitors, and then on top of that you got top 10. I mean, that doesn't get any better than that. And plus I think it next year you're going to want to just keep moving up higher and higher. And now this year, just to get off the Olympia for 1 second, because I want to get back to the Olympia, but aside from Indy, did you do any other shows, or was it after Indy, was it the Olympia the only thing on your mind?
Yeah, so I signed, when you sign a contract, you're allowed to put more than one show at a time. And my coach told me to put Indy, and that was it. And I told him, you want to do another show just in case? He goes, there's no just in case. And so he, that right there just gave me that, oh, it's time to fight now.
Right.
Let's go. So, we won
Yeah.
Indy, and then I wanted to do Chicago because the next, talk about 212 was Keon. And before anything, I knew he would redo the show he won the following year. So I'm like, why not stand next to him and see how you're going to do already? They're already talking about him winning it, right? But my coach was like, nope, no need to peak your body more than what we have to. Let's just focus on conditioning for Olympia and less on size. But both ended up coming. My conditioning got better weeks out before Olympia, and size came in even more. That time I was probably what I probably put on about 6 or 7 pounds from Indy to Olympia.
Yeah, you definitely, and that's, I think that's the one of the perks of winning a show and going to the Olympia that way, qualifying directly without points, because with points, you run the risk of burning out by doing show after show after show, because you never know if you're going to have enough points. So somebody might have one more point and then they go, you don't. But yeah, definitely your physique, in Orlando was noticeably different than in Indy, and you had made improvements. And then Keon, I mean, I don't know what happened to Keon at the Olympia, but you placed 4 spots higher than him, or more than that. What was your actual placing at the Olympia?
It was 10.
10th. So you placed 4
Just
spots
made
higher
it.
than him. So I mean, it's one of those things too. Like, uh, I think the Olympia has so much pressure around it. I mean, you were having a lot of fun, of course, but I'm sure that there was still a little bit of that on you as well. Like, you and your coach wanted to do your best, and it's the biggest show in the world.
Right, and that was the thing me and my coach talked about before prejudging even. Him, my sponsor, Titan. They're both, calling me and texting me the whole time because they can just see how depleted and drained I was trying to get this weight to fall off. And it sounded like, oh man, I felt like I cried a few times
Yeah.
because just that weak feeling. But getting ready for it isn't easy. And trying to keep the conditioning with all that pressure on you isn't easy, especially being a guy like Keon with such a big name. He has a lot of pressure to come in looking better than ever. So, I mean, that could have put some to it. And then, we lost someone very big in 212 as
I
well.
was gonna say, yeah.
So, and I talked to him a little bit about that because, I mean, out of all of us in 212, he's had years going head to head with, George from classic physique to now, or to, 212. So that he seemed to really bummed out and down about it too, like real quiet. So, I mean, that could have played a part in his conditioning as well. And that's something people
Sure.
don't see. They only see, what we show, but they're not seeing what's going on behind closed doors or how we're affected by the comments they even make about us. So,
Yeah, I was gonna say, and Antonio, I didn't even know how to bring that up. I didn't know if I should or if I shouldn't, because it was, that is such a huge loss for bodybuilding and the fitness industry, but specifically for the 212, because that was like, that's a major blow and I think, like, within the 212, it's a very small knit community, and like you said, with Keon as well. I mean, he did have a history with him back to classic, and yeah, that's something that the world of bodybuilding, I don't think has even really processed it. It was just such a shock, that's why, like, I think I don't even know, like, how that was, I don't know, that was a major blow.
yeah, I was actually taking a nap at the time, and so I woke up to it, and like my coach even called me. He was like, "Yo, did you see what happened?" I go on Instagram, and that's all you see, and it was just kind of like, I think it like set everyone back, like, wait, is this
Yeah.
real? Because a lot of people had just seen him because he was, so I don't know. It just
Yeah,
lets you know that anything could happen at any time.
that's true. That was my very first thought. Is this real? I wanted to believe that it was a fluke, that it was just one of these online rumors or something. But yeah, I mean, terrible, terrible. And then with regards to the top three, though, at the Olympia, 212 Olympia, I've never seen a more competitive top three. I mean, any one of those three guys, Kamal, Derek, or Sean. My guy was Sean, but a lot of people had Kamal, a lot of people had Derek. Any one of those three could have won. I mean, it was like they were so. It was almost like a three-way tie. I think it was. And what Bob Chigarillo said on stage, I thought was very powerful, is that the hardest of the three was Kamal, and he's 50 years old. I mean, that's insane.
It's crazy because when people talk about muscle hardness and density and fullness and all that, I'm kind of like, I don't even know what half of that means. But then you stand next to someone like Derek Lunsford or Sean Clarita, and you're backstage and they're working on you, just looking, and I was just like looking at them like, how the hell does this muscle look like that? And it's different when you're in a crowd or in pictures compared to being in your face of how they look. Top three, like, they deserve what they got.
Definitely.
I don't see them falling from there anytime soon.
But you know, the way that bodybuilding works, and the way that you work, what you've done in 2021, you know, who's to say in 2022 or 2023 you're not one of those top three? I mean, it really, again, you won a pro show. I mean, in the IFBB Pro League, to win a pro show, you know, that's a pretty hard thing to do. I mean, that's a pretty hard thing to do, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, it's very competitive. I think 212 was probably the hardest class to compete in because you have to worry about a weight cap. But and like you said, you know, being aesthetic and keeping everything smooth flowing.
Right.
So it's definitely not easy. But my coach decided that we've kind of outgrown 212, and you know, a few judges. I found out that Dennis James also said it's his time to go to Open. So here in a few days, 8 days, I believe, next Saturday, I'll be competing in Open for
Wow.
Legion Sports Fest.
Nice, nice.
So, see how that goes.
You know, and the thing is, you can actually, I mean, this is, you know, it doesn't happen that often, but you could technically do both. You know, but maybe Open is better for you. But like Hidetada Yamagishi competed Open Olympia. He was top 10 Open Olympia. I believe Jose Raymond did some Open stuff. And, you know, and then, of course, Derek. Now, Derek probably isn't going to do Open because he's 212 Mr. Olympia. But for a long time, they wanted Derek and, may rest in peace, Georgia Bull Peterson, both to jump up. You know, there's guys in the 212 also like yourself that are just like, you're like on the biggest side of the 212 possible, so big that it almost doesn't make sense not to try Open, at least, you know, try
Right.
it, you know?
Yeah, because from what, Indy to Olympia, that's 4 months, and I weighed in at 208 Indy, and come Olympia I was 213, 214.
Yeah. And
so there's no way I can
yeah,
lose
no,
for
that's
another
crazy.
year.
And yeah, and you know, obviously, people that are really hardcore into bodybuilding know, but those that don't, you know, to put on 5 or 6 actual pounds of muscle, like real muscle, in 4 months is insane. I mean, that's unheard of. So, I mean, what could you possibly do? I mean, what could you do, like, if you didn't have this 212 ceiling and you could, you know, just grow freely? You know, it's
Right.
pretty mind-boggling.
Yeah, I think from the pictures that I've posted, you know, now weighing pretty close to 230, still, you know, vascular through the abs, still got striated glutes and everything. I think people have been, you know, wanting to see what an Open, you know, Tonio Burton would look like. So
For sure.
we'll
And I
definitely
love how
bring
you
that.
just say, oh, and striated glutes too. There's a lot of pros that don't have striated glutes, you know, and it's not drugs. What it is that they don't want to suffer, you know. I mean, so the
Mm-hmm.
fact that you have them, you just say, yeah, I have striated glutes, like that a lot of guys can't get those, you know, they just can't.
Right.
So that's great that you know, you're not scared to suffer a little bit. So, what would you say would be your goals for, and I hate to say for 2022 because we still have more of 2021 left. So it sounds like you're going to be competing soon. It sounds like your year is not over. Most people after the Olympia, that's it. But it seems like you still have some more to go in 2021, right?
Oh yeah, no, I'm definitely. I like to say it. I'm a dog, you know. I like to keep going. Um, well, I believe in the tongue being a powerful weapon that we have. You know, and we can speak everything we want into existence. And you know, it starts from a faith the size of a mustard seed. And I know it sounds funny, but
No,
if
it's
you
true.
believe it, it will, you know, happen. And next year I'll be at the Olympia again, but with the big boys. So it's
Right.
going to make it happen. And a full year of growing, I believe I can do it. Especially when I get, you know, the words of, you know, you look like a Dexter Jackson. You guys got the same type of physique, and he was to me one of the greats as well. Like just how
My
long he was
gosh.
able to keep going and competing. So I mean, if I hearing that, it's like, okay, yeah, I'm definitely going Open now.
No, for
So
sure.
who
And
wouldn't want that?
he started out. Yeah, he started out as a bantamweight. I mean, he was a feather,
Mm-hmm.
and he put on so much muscle, and he beat Jay Cutler, and Jay Cutler wasn't that off in 2008. I mean, he was a little off, but he wasn't way off, and Dexter beat him like soundly, and he's just My gosh, what is he? Is he a 3 or 4-time Arnold Classic champion? He's got like, I think he's got like 29 or 30 pro wins. He's got an Olympia. I mean, it's even the last year he competed, he made top 10. I mean, just fantastic bodybuilder. Yeah, to be compared to the Blade, I mean, that's a hell of a compliment. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm always looking at his pictures and trying to find out what his stage weight was, and his off-season weight, what he was, everything, yeah.
For sure, for sure. All right, man. Well, that's awesome, man. Those are some big goals that you got, but like again, like it's not just talk though. You won Indy, you were top 10 at your first Olympia. Again, that to me is crazy because like I kept thinking it was your first Olympia, and now you're gonna jump into Open, which I think is insane, but in a really good way. Because there are guys that, in the 212 that maybe are scared to do that. And fear, there's nothing wrong with fear, but you shouldn't let it like rule your life. And you clearly are not letting it rule yours. You're going to try this. And again, as long as you keep your symmetry and those perfect proportions, and, maybe Open's going to be, the next best thing for you. You know what I mean? I mean, and I would love to see you on the Olympia stage. And I'm super, super excited for you guest posing. That's fantastic. With Big Ramy, my guy's bigger than a house, so that's great. So
I'm gonna try to keep my distance from him a little bit.
Guy's humongous. Yeah, he doesn't even look human. But but you're the mutant though. You're the mutant, so it fits. The mutant and the mass monster, it fits.
Yeah, right.
So, definitely. Well, listen, I really appreciate it. I can't thank you enough because your flight got delayed and then you had to come from the airport and do all this, like, it's crazy. So, and you're going to be out on a plane again real soon for Missouri. So I really appreciate it very much.
No, thank you. I appreciate this opportunity.
Definitely. For Tonio, the Mutant Burton, this is Christian Duke, strengthaddicts.com. Thank you so much.
All right, you have a good one.